David from Top Bunk Sports. And yes, that was a gritty win to say the least, man. It wasn't easy. It was not easy. I mean, some horrible, horrible calls from the refs tonight. I mean, what what can you say? The Knicks never make it easy. There's a lot of good things to talk about, and there's a lot of bad things to talk about. And I want to start off with the good. Obviously, the ball movement was there. You had guys being able to get extra, make the extra passes, get a lot of rebounds, being able to do a lot of things that are different, right? And I think it also comes down to just them being able to move the ball within each other. I think that's something that Mike Brown always enforces. And we've always said that. We've always said that with Mike Brown being here, that this is something that he's preaching is everybody's got to touch the ball. Everybody's got to move. Everybody's got to do whatever they can to just, you know, get touches, right? You never have to always worry about if that other person is going to be involved in the offense or not. And I think that's very important for what we saw today. I would say, to me, I think the most important thing for me tonight is, Jalen Brunson being able to make those extra passes, Jalen Brunson, being able to get in a groove in that third quarter, where Jalen Brunson was able to also find his rhythm and get his teammates involved. And then you also had, you also had OG Ananobi step up and do what he needed to do tonight. And I think that's very important. OG Ananobi being a presence not only defensively but offensively, right? You're talking about OG Ananobi being able to do so much on the court, being able to find his rhythm at times, and you love that. You love to see that. You love the fact that now that when OG Ananobi's involved, there's no stopping OG Ananobi. There really isn't. There really isn't. And you saw that today, right? He found his groove, he found his rhythm. He was able to get a lot of clutch shots going in. And I want to show you guys the sequence right here. And this happened in the fourth quarter. These were three possessions right here. And excuse me if the camera quality is bad, but these are three possessions right here where OG Ananobi changed the game and changed the momentum for New York. And what I want to do is I want to show it to you guys so you guys can see it. I think it's very important right here. Okay. So here you go.
To the
So
corner, Shamit
he's the first one to put back right there. Nobody putting a body on him, right?
fakes, takes,
Corner three,
and
boom.
inside. To the corner, Shamit.
Boom. But again, being able to read the court, being able to make the extra pass. Because to be honest with you, OG could have did two things. OG could have chucked up that three, or OG could have went and said, you know what, I'm gonna drive by my defender and try to create contact and try to lay it in or get a call, right? So Shamit, nobody was giving Shamit the respect that he deserved. Saw Shamit right in that corner and said, boom. So again, being able to make the extra passes, read the court where everybody was at, and again, being able to keep the momentum going. And I think that's very important for what we're seeing with OG Ananobi, for what we're seeing from this Knicks team, and what we're seeing overall. And again, you gotta be able to, like I said, make the extra passes, being able to move the ball well. And you see that with Jalen Brunson. Now Jalen Brunson obviously had 22 going into the third quarter. Well, excuse me, 20 going into the third quarter, and then he took over in that quarter right there. He took over. Jalen Brunson, if you look at his stats tonight, right? 31 points, 5 assists, excuse me, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. He was a plus 7 in point differential. He shot 45% from the field, and he was 11 of 24 from the field. So, you want to see him just shoot a little bit better, but again, being able to make a difference in this game tonight, I think really played a factor um for this team. Only two turnovers. You gotta be able to generate the offense, and being able to to really hold you guys together, right? I know this team has been in a free fire right now, right? They really haven't found their groove. They haven't found their momentum. This is these are games that the New York Knicks need to take care of. These are games where the New York Knicks need to tell themselves, "Yo, we need to handle business because nobody is going to take us serious as a basketball team. Nobody is going to look at us and be like, yo, we can beat a Detroit Pistons team. We can beat a Boston Celtics team, even though we beat them last year. But right now, this team really hasn't found their identity yet. They haven't found their identity yet. They haven't really found their culture. And I'm just talking about this season. Okay. And the reason why I say that is you look at a guy like Carl Anthony Towns who's getting paid almost 40 to $50 million, right? To be your second option. We all know Carl Anthony Towns is not a second option. That is 100% fact. Ain't nobody could tell me nothing. And any other championship team, Carl Anthony Towns is not a second option, but he is a second option for this team. Okay. The 1-2 combination I always bring up is Julius Randle. And they gave that up because of the situation that the New York Knicks were in with not being able to pay Isaiah Hartenstein, not having Mitchell Robinson last year until February, March, right? So you really had no center. You really didn't. Now, I've always said this, I would have taken the risk of holding Julius Randle, and I would have had him as my number 5. Um and I know, you're running Julius Randle at the 5 for 4 to 5 months, maybe 6, and we don't know how that would have panned out. My thing is on this one, you have guys that can move the ball at an exceptional rate, but you also got guys that can score the basketball efficiently, right? You got Jalen Brunson, you got OG Ananobi, right? You got Mikal Bridges at times when he's on. I know the discussion about Mikal is not going to be good today, but you got Mikal Bridges. You have you have guys like Josh Hart who, when they want to, score the basketball, but a guy that can facilitate, right? A guy that can push the pace, a guy that can move the ball when he wants to. So you got guys that can make it work, right? At times. And I if I was the New York Knicks, I would have been okay with taking that role. I would have been okay with taking that risk. But again, they thought that they weren't going to be able to do that. So, you know what? They said, okay, we're going to have to go out there and we're going to have to go get ourselves a center that can score, that can make a difference. Now, the thing with Carl Anthony Towns is that they've always wanted this kid. They've always wanted him, right? Carl Anthony Towns was a guy that since 2022, I would say since 2022, they've always had their name when it came to hit to the Carl Anthony Towns sweepstakes. Now you get him. And now he goes from a second option in Minnesota, right? Because it was Anthony Edwards and him. And now you're going into the second option as for the New York Knicks, where it's Jalen Brunson and Carl Anthony Towns. Right now, Carl Anthony Towns is not playing like that second option. Right now, Carl Anthony Towns is playing like a third or fourth option on this team. And that's where it's gonna hurt the New York Knicks. Honestly, like that's where you're going to have an issue with the New York Knicks right now. And that's horrible to say. Honestly, that is disgusting to say right now. Carl Anthony Towns, as of right now, is not going to you're not going to win with Carl Anthony Towns. You're just not. You saw it tonight. Carl Anthony Towns wasn't a difference maker tonight. You know who was a difference maker tonight? Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson was your difference maker tonight. You just look at his numbers. Look at his numbers tonight. Mitchell Robinson tonight. Mitchell Robinson was a plus 14 in point differential. 27 minutes, 6 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was 75% from the field. He was 3 or 4 from the field, right? Mitchell Robinson, especially in that third quarter, Mitchell Robinson had 6 points, played 10 minutes, 3 rebounds, was 100% from the field, 3 of 3. Um, 2 defensive rebounds. You look at his fourth quarter, he didn't really have much touches, right? But again, being able to make a difference in that game. You know what I'm saying? Like that right there is what you have Mitchell Robinson for. This is a guy that can spread the floor really well, right? But he can also grab you key rebounds, push the ball out, reset when they need to, right? But again, being a difference maker on the boards, not being afraid of who else is in that ping, and that's why Mitchell Robinson is key to the game. With a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, he doesn't provide that for you. He doesn't. Right now, he does not. This is a guy that sucks defensively, but offensively, this is a guy that can shoot the ball, right? But that's about it. But that's about it. And I think Knicks fans need to start realizing that with Karl Anthony Towns. He can facilitate at times, but he gets too much in his head, right? When his shots are not falling, everything else falls apart. Everything else falls apart because Karl Anthony Towns can't make adjustments. The coaches, the coaching system are not helping him. Well, I'll take that back. The coaches are probably helping him to make those adjustments. It's either he can't or he doesn't want to. And I don't want to believe the second part because Karl Anthony Towns is a really nice dude. But at some point, when do we start realizing that Karl Anthony Towns is possibly holding us back? And that's just the honest question. You're talking to a guy in me that has followed Cat from his days in Kentucky. Originally, it was because he was Dominican, right? It's the Dominican star that's coming out of Kentucky. He that's rare to see. Not too many Dominican basketball players in this league, right? But this is a kid that, again, a Dominican basketball player coming out of Kentucky, right? Who's going number one. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft. Minnesota drafts him. They build around this kid. They draft Anthony Edwards in 2020. They build around the faction of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. They put defensive players around them to get better defensively. They make the playoffs with these guys. They make the Western Conference Finals the year prior in 2024, right? But again, at some point, when he's not changing the game, right? It's sad to say because this is a guy in Karl Anthony Towns that last year was such a difference maker, man. Now, of course, he had different flaws in his game. You were questioning a little bit, like, all right, dude, the dude can't drive. He does get into foul trouble. You would think that he'd be much better this year. And maybe it is a coaching problem, right? Because he's played under Tibbs before in his career. He's played well under Tibbs in his career. That, in my opinion, that was a Tibbs guy, right? But now he's coming into Mike Brown's system where it's like Mike Brown is saying, "Yo, we're gonna try to implement you as best as we can, but I want the ball moving. I want to play off our best player." And at times that doesn't work out. At times that doesn't work out. And at some point, when you're having games like this where Karl Anthony Towns really doesn't affect you, you look at his stats tonight. Karl Anthony Towns, Karl Anthony Towns is at the bottom of this list. There were so like Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges really need to have a sit down and really need to figure out what the hell they need to do. Because don't get me started on Mikal Bridges. Please do not. Do not get me started on Mikal Bridges. Karl Anthony Towns today, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 50% from the field. He's 2 of 4, 2 of 4 from the field. But that was it. He's a -6 in point differential. He wasn't nothing. Absolutely nothing. That first quarter had 6 points. That's it. 0 points in the second quarter. Well, 4 points in the second quarter. 0 points in the third quarter. Why? Because he got fouled. He got in foul trouble. Fourth quarter, 0 points. Why? Because he got in foul trouble. He was in foul trouble. He got fouled out. He got fouled out. Again, as a second option on this team, you cannot have these problems. You cannot. You can't have these problems. They're lucky that they got some source of scoring from Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby today. They are so lucky. At some point, this team needs to do two things. Have a conversation with Cat and say, yo, bro, what we're seeing from you lately, it's unacceptable. Very unacceptable. We're not going to be able to win if you can't fix your shit. The second option needs to be trade him. Figure out the situation in Milwaukee. Find out if Giannis is willing to request a trade. And if at this point, listen, I don't want to give up guys like Deuce McBride. But if that's what it's going to take to get Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns out of here, Deuce, I love you, bro. I really don't want to let you go. You guys are seeing the positive effect that Deuce McBride is having on this court. The elevation of Deuce McBride just keeps going up. But at the same time, this is the best window that the New York Knicks have right now to go win a championship. And it's not looking good. If you're second up, you're going to get smoked in the playoffs if Karl Anthony Towns is a no-show like he was tonight. That can't happen. That cannot happen. I hope to God that this is the last game that we see Karl Anthony Towns have like this, because it was atrocious. And I know, again, the way I'm talking, everybody's like, "Well, Top, we won." Yes, but it frustrated me more that as bad as the refs were, especially in that second half, and I'm not giving them a cop out because that fourth quarter was horrible. But as bad as the refs were, this game could have went a little bit further away if we would have got something from Karl Anthony Towns, or if we would have gotten something from Mikal Bridges. Because Mikal Bridges, 3 of 16, he's shooting 3 of 16. For a guy that the New York Knicks gave up 5 first-round picks for, this is the effort that we are getting from Mikal Bridges. A guy that we traded 5 first-round fucking picks. Something's got to change, and the conversation needs to switch. I don't know if Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, as former Nova boys, need to sit their guy down and be like, "Yo, Mikal, we love you, but yo, something's got to change. Let us know what it is." See, Mikal wasn't afraid to talk about Tom Thibodeau in these interviews, right? He had a problem with Tom Thibodeau. Okay, had a problem with Tom Thibodeau. There was something about Tibbs that the team didn't like. They got your coach now. Now there's no excuses. Go fix this. And again, a beautiful win, a gritty win. This is the best basketball that the Knicks have played in January. Fuck Brooklyn. I don't care about Brooklyn. There's a reason why I didn't post nothing about the Brooklyn game. You had to win that. There was no excuse about the Brooklyn win. You had to go and win against Brooklyn. That was a give me. That you saw the score. It was like 120 to like 66. That Brooklyn, that you had, if you would have lost to that Brooklyn team, we would have really had to have conversations about Mike Brown and the entire team, honestly. So you built off the win against Brooklyn. You come into Philadelphia in their home, where a healthy Joel Embiid has been playing really well, right? They've been slapping you around without Joel Embiid. Let's not forget about that. VJ Edgecombe has been a difference maker along with Tyrese Maxey. Them two have been a difference maker for that 76ers team, and there's a reason why they're fifth in the Eastern Conference. You come into their home, you almost give up the game because, again, bad officiating, but y'all can't make y'all free throws to save y'all life. That's another thing. but you secure the victory, a big time win. Now you can relax for a couple days. You don't play till Tuesday. You play against the Sacramento Kings at home. So that's another team that you need to go get your revenge against. But you need efforts from your top guys. And it's not always going to be Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby. It's not. We need to see some consistency from Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. We do. Because it's honestly, I'm getting fed up with those two. I really am. I really am. Something needs to change with those two. Other than that, the New York Knicks, like I say, take a gritty win over the 76ers at home. Again, some team stats tonight. They shot 41 of 93 from the field. That was 44%. They were 15 of 44 from three. 34% could be a little bit much better. 15 of 27 free throws. They were 55%. They need to be, if you're gonna make 27 free throw attempts, you need to score a little bit more. You need to make your free throws. This is disgusting at this point. 53 rebounds, 27 assists, 5 blocks, 34 defensive rebounds, second chance points, 26 second chance points. Clutch, clutch, very clutch, very clutch. That right there was the key thing for me. There were a lot of second chance points for the New York Knicks tonight. And 19 offensive rebounds. Half of that came from Mitchell Robinson. Again, a difference maker. I'll continue to say it. A difference maker. But Karl Anthony Towns needs to be a difference maker with Mitchell Robinson. This team would be much better if that was the case. Um, Other than that, man, yes, a gritty win, but ball movement, being able to set the tone whenever they needed to. They came out of that third quarter fire. Let's look at Jalen Brunson's third quarter performance. I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. I that started the momentum for the New York Knicks, and you look at it right here. Started from the back. There you go. Hit that three. That's
Jalen
going
Brunson now with 22.
I don't know if you want that.
Brunson guarded by Oubre. Jalen Brunson off one leg, drops it in beautifully. 24 for the three-time All-Star. He was 10 for 12 in the first half, 0 for 3 here in the second. Brunson, you bet!
I do not know what defense they were in.
Brunson, short, another offensive rebound. Brunson,
he got it! Man. Hitting clutch time with shots. And again, you look at his stats, 30 points overall. He had 30 points after that third quarter. He had 11 third quarter points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 11 of 22 from the field, 6 of 12 from 3, plus 16 in point differential. Jalen Brunson is a difference maker, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, like this is what it is. All right. When Jalen Brunson's on, the team is better. When you have other scorers besides Jalen Brunson, this team is better. But we need to get involved. We need to get everybody involved. And guys like Mikal and Cat, I don't want to make this an episode where it's like hate on Cat. It's not. It's not. I promise you guys it's not. It is not. But you're lucky to survive with a win because those two, most of the time when those three in Cat, Mikal, and OG are not doing anything, you lose. You lose. What's the point of giving up 5 first-round picks for Mikal if he ain't gonna do shit? Honestly, let's be real. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. But again, I think the most positive about this game is that the ball movement, especially with when Towns wasn't in the game, where Mitchell Robinson was in that game, and you had a little bit of the second unit with Shamit in there, Deuce McBride in there. Deuce McBride hit some timely shots, being able to make the second chance points and being able to get key offensive rebounds, move the ball when you need to, get guys involved, facilitate, right? Facilitate, just make the extra passes. When those extra passes happen, you find wide open guys. And when you're hot, right? Jalen Brunson found his rhythm, found his groove. They couldn't guard him. There you go. So They handle business tonight. Like I said, the New York Knicks don't play till Tuesday, so they got 2 days off, and they're back home to play the Sacramento Kings. That's a game that they want. They're circling because the Sacramento Kings absolutely embarrassed them. Embarrassed them. So start picking up your wins that you have lost, and start handling business. Start handling business because it's not going to get easier, and we need to start getting our identity back so that way when the playoffs come we know that we're comfortable. And let's start getting more from Cat, honestly, because if not, this trade deadline better be a big one where the Knicks can move them and not have to deal with that. There are two unhappy guys right now in Karl Anthony Towns here and Giannis in Milwaukee. If I'm Leon Rose, yo, does Giannis want to go? Does he want to go? Ask him if he wants to go. What, and if he does, what do y'all want? And try to make it happen. It's the best thing y'all could do. Or wait for the summer. But again, there's a path right now where you don't want to do that. Unless Karl Anthony Towns has a conversation with y'all and says, yo, I'm gonna get my shit together. Let's see what happens, man. But yo, appreciate everybody that's watching, man. Make sure y'all do what I always tell y'all to do, man. Make sure y'all follow Top Bunk Sports on X, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you guys subscribe to Top Bunk Sports YouTube channel. I'm your guy David from Top Bunk Sports. This is another Knicks on Top post game video. The New York Knicks take a gritty win against the 76ers in Philly. Till then, man, I'll probably see y'all Tuesday for another post game against the Sacramento Kings. Till then, make sure you subscribe, and I'll check y'all, man. Everybody stay safe. Please, if you guys are in the New York area, or you guys are on the east side, even those of you down south in Texas, right? Or down south in general that are getting a lot of snow out there. I know y'all usually don't get a lot of snow, but a lot of y'all that are getting snow out there, please stay safe. Make sure you guys are comfortable. Make sure you guys stay indoors. Make sure you guys have a lot of supplies in your house. For my New Yorkers, including me, because I live in New York, so we're gonna get hit tomorrow. Make sure y'all guys stay safe. Make sure y'all guys, like I said, have a lot of supplies. Make sure you guys are comfortable. Make sure you put some salt out there. Put as much salt as you can, just to stay good, and stay protected and stay healthy. But with that being said, stay safe, my everyone, and I'll check you guys on the next live. Peace.